we're going to be looking at my wife's Volkswagen Touareg, 2014 model. Problem is, when we select reverse, the reverse camera doesn't come on and we lose the functionality of the reversing sensors. I'll show you what indications we're getting inside the cockpit of the car.
Many months later.
Okay, so back to the Touareg. So this model is the T2 7P model, which ranged from about 2010, I believe, to 2016, somewhere around there. But anyway, it's a 7P model, and the problem was the reverse or park assist was not functioning, just getting the beep inside, and the screens won't come on. This particular model has got the front and rear cameras, so the 360 view. And when I plugged it into VCDS, the fault code was coming up as a low supply voltage. So I then proceeded to check all the sensors. You know, I have an Audi which has exactly the same sensors, so I was fortunate there where I could disconnect every sensor and connect it into my car to make sure that they were all functioning. You've seen on previous videos how you can access all but two of the rear sensors, so all the front sensors and two outer rear sensors you can access without taking the bumper off. The two on the back bumper in the centre, you do have to remove the bumper to gain access to that. Again, I think I've done a video on how to take the back bumper off. So where are we at now? I believed that I still had a fault with the wiring somewhere, clearly because the sensors were okay, and I'm trying to rule out the module. When I looked through the grill, I saw this blue part, and I thought it was actually electric tape. So, I mean, it was dark, in fairness. So I proceeded to take off the front grille. Again, on a previous video, I've shown you how to take this grille off. It's just 10 tabs along the top. What you push down is apply an outward force, and it'll come off and then lift off. You've got to take the number plate mount off as well. That's just on with the plastic clips. Yeah, you can see the pre-holes there. So then when I looked at this and got it off, I seen that it was actually a blue connector. But I'm pleased I did think it was that, because that forced me to remove that to have a look at this. In doing so, I then removed the polystyrene, which is here for your sort of impact absorption, which locates down in here, sort of in that position. Now you can get this off without take the bumper off. Just pull out on the bumper a bit to give it a bit of leeway, lift it up and slide it out. When I slid it out on this particular model, again, as I've mentioned on previous videos, it's a bit of a bad design, so it might be common if you're having this problem with yours, where it's going to be rubbing up against the metal slam panel here, and that's where I had the break in the wires. Now, because the wires are broke, basically all the copper cabling had sort of oxidised and not in a good shape. It took us a while to get a decent clean with the Stanley blade to get some copper back, so I could apply some solder. So I'd done the best I could and rewired it up and heat shrinked it. It was 2 cables, in fact, that I had to do, hoping that would solve the problem. I then went back to VCDS, and it didn't solve the problem. However, it did then come up with a short or open to ground. So therefore my supply voltage fault code had disappeared, but I did still have a short somewhere. So because this cabling wasn't great, I'm presuming that this is still clearly the problem. So what I plan on doing now is trying to take out this whole wiring loom on the front without removing the bumper, which is going to be a bit of a chew, but I think it'll be less of a chew than taking the full bumper off. Now, I have been able to access the connector for these. It's on the right hand side, so on the driver's side, offside if you like. So you've basically got to take this panel off here, your inner wheel arch, and that gives you access to the connector. So I'm hoping then I can disconnect it and just pull the clips off where it'll be clipped on along the bumper, and take the whole wiring loom off, so I can give it a good inspection and renew lengths of cabling, so it's all good. So that's a bit of an update on where we at, and I'm just going to now proceed on taking that cabling out at the front. Dilly dilly. Right, as we can see with the Touareg, I've had to take the back bumper back off. What I've done is put each individual sensor onto my car and check that my car still worked in reverse with the sensors, and they all did. So that's all the sensors on this working. So we're now down to a wiring fault or the control module itself, which I find it highly unlikely it'll be the control module. It's an intermittent problem. When I clear the fault code, the screen comes on, but then it drops off. So if it was the module, you would have thought nothing would display on the screen itself at all. But because it does for a limited period of time, then I'm presuming it's just down to wiring. Anyway, bumper's off, so I'm going to check the wiring now for continuity on the back bumper, and then I can do the front if I don't find a fault here. Dilly dilly. Right, still chowing on with this. So I've checked all the wiring for continuity on the back to every sensor. That's all fine. I can't check this cable because obviously the system isn't functioning, so I'm not that good with electrics to know how to test that. I don't know what I'm testing apart from continuity, but I need to connect one end to one end and one end to the other. However, all is not lost. I think I may have found the potential problem. Now, you're not gonna, you might. Now, the camera system on this front and rear is all part of the park assist. So if there's anything wrong with the cameras, it'll knock the sensors off, and vice versa. So I'm concentrating on sensors when actually I was thinking there could be a problem with the camera. So I've checked the back, or just visually looked at it, and it looked okay. I can't see any water coming through or anything to suggest that it's getting the ingress of water. However, the front camera, I've looked at it and I thought, oh, I'll try and get it off and just see if it's a connector on this. Now, when I've looked on the inside, there you can see that blue is not a blue connector, that is electric tape. So to that end, something's been wrong with this, and somebody's done possibly a temporary repair or a shit repair, not using soldering and sleeves, etc. And I think there's water getting into this, and it's corroded some of the cables. So I need to get this camera off. Now hopefully I don't have to take the front bumper off. There is some clips on the side that you push in, but I just can't seem to get it off. So I'm going to have a quick look on the forums now and see if they can shed any light on how to get this camera out without it actually taking the bumper off. Blue tape on the back of there is a sure sign that that's where my fault lies, especially when it was intermittent. And sometimes it came on when it was raining rather than going off when it was raining, which would say to me it's actually making a connection when the water's getting in, because as we know, water transfers electricity. So I'm not putting this bumper on tonight, it's our card, but I am going to try and find out how to get that front sensor off, and I think that's what it is, or the front camera, sorry. Dilly dilly. Right guys, I have found the problem. So it wasn't the camera, that connector was actually blue, so it wasn't tape after all. However, if I hadn't have seen that, that wouldn't have prompted me to remove the grill. So I got the grill off. I disconnected this and reconnected it. It made no difference whatsoever. And I took these connectors out and I cleared the fault code. It then came up with short to ground. The fault code that it used to have was supply voltage too low. So it was because I'd moved these wires, I was changing the fault code. So, where are we at? This sort of polystyrene, if you like, sits down there. So I couldn't really get to the wires to see if there was any breaks in the wires anywhere. Of course, this was in the way, so I've just managed to get this out. And then I had a look, and here we go. Hopefully the camera will focus in. There we have it. So we can see there where the cable is chopped. Again, I don't think the camera's going to focus in on it like, but anyway, that is the problem. That's the break in the wire. All I've got to do is, well, I say all I've got to do, there's not much room there, so hopefully I don't have to take the bumper off, and I can make this wire a bit longer by unloosening the other sensors. But anyway, I found the problem, that there. I don't know where it was rubbing up against, to be honest.
I don't know.
Looks like it was this part here. But I don't know what's caused it to get that that friction, unless it was just because of this being tight up against it. I don't know, but anyway, found the problem, sort that out, dilly dilly. So getting there with the repair. So I've done the solder there, as you can see. Camera probably won't focus in, but anyway, that's soldered. I've put an extra length on there, so I'm now just going to sleeve that, heat that up, so it'll be watertight. Yeah, so I don't know whether this is a common problem on these, and why the reason why it's sort of rubbed there. But if you're experiencing this problem with your park distance control, saying voltage, supply voltage low, then in my case it's been where there's probably just been a couple of strands connected, so it hasn't been enough power to keep the system on. But when I wiggled this wire, it obviously broke completely, and then I got a voltage short to ground. So if you've got a short to ground on these particular Touaregs 2014, you know, take the front grill off and have a look at that area down here on the bottom left. Now, for taking the grill off, it took us quite a while to find out on some forum how to take the grill off. Once you know how, it's relatively simple. First of all, when you do take the grill off, you'll have this piece of polystyrene wedged down the bottom, so you've just got to pull this and wiggle this out. It will come. Just takes a bit of faffing on. But to take the grill off, you can see the tabs along the top. There's 10 of them. So when this is in place, it basically slots in at the bottom and then pushes in and clips in at the top. So all I did was get a thin screwdriver. You're better off using a plastic tool if you've got one. But I just used a screwdriver and just gently push down on these, applying a bit of outward pressure as well, and just unclip them all the way along, and then that came off and lifted off. And that gives you access to the front then. And then, as I say, wiggle that bit of polystyrene out, and then you're down looking at that area there to see if that's the possible cause of your problem. In this case it was for mine. So I'll finish this repair here, and then I've got another solder to do to join it to there, and then do another shrink wrap on there, tape it up, and then I'll test the VCDS and see if it clears the fault code. Dilly dilly. Okay, so firstly I've took the wheel off, or jacked the car up, put it on axle stands as we can see. Took the wheel off, and then you have to take this inner arch off here. So yeah, it basically sits there. It's for your intercooler for the turbo. Good job taking these off, and I would suggest periodically, certainly if it's a car you've had a while, take these off and then give this a clean, because we can see how the crud starts blocking the vents, which will not cool the air down much for the turbo. So you'll have one either side. Possibly, I'm guessing there'll be another one either side. It's quite a big motor, so yeah, or it might just be the one, who knows, but certainly worth taking off to clean, even if anything, for routine maintenance. So to take it off, you've just got a screw in there, and then you've got to take a screw out at the bottom here to pull this out. Be careful because they're on clips, so just ease them out carefully. Once you pull them out, it'll reveal some more screws, so you've just got one in the top there, I believe, and that's it. And then that's it. You can just manoeuvre that piece of plastic out the way. Now the connector for the sensors is just up here. So inside the wheel arch, just follow it up and you will see your connector there for the wiring loom, and that one there is for the camera, for the front camera. Obviously if you don't have a front camera you won't have that cable on, but for me I'm going to disconnect both of these. The wiring loom's also for the your front fog light, so I'll have to disconnect that, and then I'm just going to try and wiggle the cable off wherever it's connected onto all the way around. Hopefully I don't have to strip the other side down. I may do anyway, just if anything to clean the other matrix, if indeed it's got one, but I'll be able to see if it's got one just by looking underneath without needing to strip it down. However, back to the cabling. So I'll get this cable out and then hopefully I'm in a position where I can inspect it. Dilly dilly. Right, so I've got the wiring loom out. As you can see, I've connected it back up underneath, but I've stripped all the outer tape off. Here's my problem cable. So all I'm going to do now is, you can see there where I've connected it, just dangling there. It was a bit of a pain to get all these cables out because they obviously go up to the sensor, and there's one here for the air temperature sensor. That won't get routed back the way it was because it's just no way you're going to be able to do it. You know, it went down there, it's setting out to just pull it down, so it'll be difficult to feed it back in, but it doesn't matter. I'll just bring it up here. You'll not see the cable really once it's black tied up. The main thing is to get this system working. So definitely doable. You can take the loom out without taking the bumper off. It's just fidgety work. Persevere. I can't really describe what you have to do. You'll just work it out as you're doing it. Main thing is to get this cable out. So as I said, what I'm going to do now is cut this cable again, and I'm going to cut it back to where I can get some good copper. Because as I say, it's oxidised with the sheath being broken. It's just corroded all the wire, so I'm going to cut that back as far as I need to and replace it with new cable and see if that takes off this fault code. I've got to do two wires, the orange and yellow and the brown and black. That's it. So see how we get on with that one. Dilly dilly.
Okay.